Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
May I ask you a question that would
Yeah.
probably be cut out of the podcast?
No.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Craig is like, please.
You guys
See that?
like
We
it.
agree,
Yes,
right?
you can.
To get real for a second, because I think Ryan and I had this conversation before too. If kids were not a part of the equation, in terms of like, do you think that some of the tough times may have led to a separation that didn't?
That's a good question. No. I here's what I think. This episode is brought to you by Shift.
Hey, little girl.
Hi, Craig. Craigie Craig.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, still enjoying our new IMO set.
I know.
Feeling pretty professional here in our new studios.
It's great. It's great and comfortable. Really comfortable.
It is.
The offices look great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're comfortable and the studio is comfortable. I mean, it's incredible. And we're not even where we're going to be.
No,
We
this
still
is
got a
just
little more to do.
This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. Speaking of comfort, where are you staying this go round?
I'm staying in an Airbnb once again here, and really in a nice place that's about 20 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to this: I had such a good customer service experience.
Tell me
So
more.
we went to dinner. We had a family get together.
Yeah, we went out
last night, and Aaron and I, my 13-year-old, we get back to the Airbnb, and the lock is one of these. You know, you got to figure out what the code is, and the numbers aren't always the same. And I'm like, I mess it up, and we'd lock ourselves out.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Locked ourselves out. Called the host.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and he was like, "Oh, just give me a minute," and he was like. Hit a few buttons and the door opened and we were able to get in as I was about to panic that we were going to be locked out for the night. So
that's
really good experience.
That's really good.
Really good customer experience. So
well, I'm glad you're comfortable that Airbnb is still hooking you up.
Yeah, they're right along with us. A great partnership. So we're enjoying it and really appreciate it.
Well, I am excited, as always, for today's guests.
And as folks can see, we've got 2 chairs here. So before we bring out Sterling K. Brown and Ryan Michelle Bathe, I want to do a little bit of an intro for our newfound friends here. So, well, not so newfound because you've met Sterling before, but
we go way back.
Sterling is an Academy Award nominee and a 3-time Emmy Award winning actor.
That's bad.
That's some tough stuff for a brother, you know? He currently stars and executive produces the hit Hulu series Paradise. And let me go on record by saying, you know me, if it's not a sports thing, I'm probably not going to try and sit and binge watch it, right?
Yeah, you're pretty limited in that way.
Let me tell you. So in preparation for this, what I try and do, I try and watch
you hadn't been watching Paradise?
I have not been watching Paradise, but let me tell you the story. So I'm watching it.
What a stooge.
So as part of the research, I start to watch it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay. And I get to the end of the first the first episode, and I was like, all right, let me just real quickly watch the second one.
Paradise
and then it was like, let me just watch the third one. And then I look up and I was supposed to pick Austin up from school.
I left the babies. This is like, oh, Jesus, haven't eaten yet. No, Paradise will do that. It'll mess you up, mess your life up.
No
you
one
go
told
in
me about that.
And it doesn't. It just like sucks you in.
It sucks you right in.
And you can't let go. And you mad at everybody. And
you know me, I'm a real snob because I was watching the first episode. I was like, well, this is just your run-of-the-mill so-and-so. And then it got right to the end and I was like, Oh. Okay.
Oh, this is different.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
but I digress.
Yes,
I digress.
Yes. Woo.
And Sterling has also starred in an executive producer. He's I should be calling him Mr. EP when he comes out here. The acclaimed Hulu limited series Washington Black. He is also known for his roles in This Is Us, American Fiction, and The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. Now, Ryan Michelle Bathe recently led the NBC drama series The Endgame and the film Boy in the Wall.
My girl.
She previously starred in BET's First Wives Club and CBS's All Rise, along with her husband, Sterling K. Brown.
2 actors in the family.
Can you imagine 2 actors?
We're going to find out what that's like.
Bathe hosts and produces the award-winning podcast We Don't Always Agree with her husband, Sterling K. Brown.
That's brave.
That
girl.
is brave.
Y'all
and
are
I've
brave.
been listening. They got me listening to this now.
I know,
it's
right?
Like they're all in my feed here.
I know, right?
Sterling and Ryan, please come
on, right? Because we need to talk through this.
And we got to give Sterling a little bit more time to come out because he is injured.
Oh,
yes.
Hey guys, we'll let you get settled.
Here,
Sure.
Oh man, are you okay? First of all,
you comfortable?
You comfortable?
You need a pillow.
Okay.
You know, can
Very
we get you some?
Happy to be here.
Oh,
it's a true honor to be in you all's presence.
Oh,
it is.
You're nice to say.
We're just following in your footsteps. This is the podcast vets.
My wife was very nervous.
Oh.
She went through how many 11 outfits?
Why are you telling on her?
Well, because this is how important you all are to us, to the culture, what you mean to everybody. Like you have this, your sphere of influence is immense and powerful and beautiful, right? And so thank you.
Aww.
Like truly, like this is a real honor, right?
It's hard for me not to be like climbing your walls right now and just be like, So this is very good acting. Like
you're doing great.
I'm right.
You are composed.
Right?
You're beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is gonna be fun. This is family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we already know all your business.
Yeah, because you guys are agreeing right now. I like that.
Look at that.
You're agreeing on being excited to be here.
But let's hear how Sterling
What
ended
happened
up
to
in this
you?
predicament.
Finished shooting season 2 of Paradise.
Thank God it didn't interrupt that.
My youngest son is a basketball player, and so his coach invited me to play like in a coach's game.
It all begins with basketball.
All begins with basketball.
With a black man in a
You know
with the torn Achilles.
Now that's wrong.
It all
That's
begins with, and there was a basketball
It was a
game.
basketball game.
Now, see, if you had said we were out there playing golf or something, she would have been like,
It never happens there.
It doesn't.
It
But she's
happens
right.
on the
It
basketball
is
court.
the sports that it happens the most because I've done 2 ACLs and now this Achilles situation.
No.
The ones I hear: basketball, skiing, soccer, tennis.
Yeah.
Now I hear like the pickleball people.
now.
Pickleball
starting to
is
get
making
into this
some
as well.
chiropractors rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was making a move to the left, like a innocuous step. Felt like somebody stomped on the back of my heel with the spike. And I started yelling. I was like, hey, man, who stepped on my foot? And they're like, what you talking about, man? I was like, hey, just apologize for stepping on my foot and we'll be cool. And they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just keep it going, just apologize. And they were like, bruh, nobody
would hear you.
And it's that moment when you're like, you know what happened. You're like, man.
because you've heard that story.
Yeah.
You hear that story over and over
Hundreds of
again.
times,
I
yes.
went to stand up, and then I was like, nope. And I scooched my booty off of the court. My team won. I stayed there like
Because that
it was important.
That,
was
ladies
important.
and
I was
gentlemen,
coaching.
is
You
an important
called
part of
me,
the story.
And you're like, you know that urgent care place you were talking about the other day? It's like Sunday.
So
Yeah.
what lesson have we learned from this experience,
here we go.
Sterling?
This is interesting. We had this
Okay.
conversation last night
We did.
where my wife was asking me, are you still going to play?
The ultimate wife question after a dumbass injury.
There you go. So this is it. And
Honey,
this-
are we still doing this?
This is what I reiterated. Coach, you let me know how you feel about this.
Okay.
I'm a man of a certain age, right? I'll be 50 next birthday.
Baby.
Baby, a total baby, right? Sometimes when you talk to people that have given it up, my experience is there's a pervasive mentality of like, I've gotten too old to do XYZ.
Mm.
I don't like the idea of getting older means that I've gotten old. So while I know I have to amend my game, I may have to do set shots, I may have to take it a little bit easier on defense. I don't like the idea of giving something up because I think that is a pervasive sort of mentality that I don't want to invade the rest of my life.
I like it.
Okay.
Does
I
that
like
make
it.
sense?
It
Like, I'm not
does.
trying to be stubborn.
No, it does.
Yes.
So how are we about stretching?
Very good.
Okay.
I stretch.
My education part here is like even more stretching.
Yes, ma'am.
The older we get,
Right.
the more stretching. What are you laughing about?
I promise we're going to talk about we don't always
I don't mind,
agree.
but I appreciate
But
it.
But I will tell you.
No, these are
I
for
will
the
tell you your thought process about stopping
Yeah, no, it's a
playing
good one.
Right.
It's a good one.
is not faulty. You want to play as long as your body allows you
Sure.
to. And there are masters leagues for guys who are my age.
Okay.
Still playing.
Right.
You can play competitively as you like.
Right.
Or as calmly as you like, even if you're just playing 3-on-3.
Sure.
But what I want to tell my sister, there is a finite number of games in everybody's body.
Right.
And when you get to yours, you have an Achilles tear.
Right.
Some people will get it at 49,
Right.
and some people won't get it.
Right.
You cannot prevent what happened to Sterling. Stretching or no stretching.
Right.
I'm sure your doctor told you that.
Yeah. No, it's just one of those things.
But stretching is really good for you.
Stretching is important. And also, I'll say
Stretching
this too.
is really good for you.
Shut up, boy.
I'll say this too, that like, I've been making this sort of adjustment in terms of how I run, from landing on the heel to trying to land mid-foot. And I also think that there's something about the tennis shoes that we wear that don't allow the strength of the foot muscles to be strong enough to necessarily support stuff. So I think my foot wasn't strong enough to support what I wanted to do in terms of, and I had to start wearing a thinner sole shoe. So as I do my recovery, I'll try to work with thinner. So like when Rye works out, she works out barefoot. And I see like every time I do a little bit of the barefoot workout, I'm like, oh, this hits different. You know, because your balance and
You
the little
learn it.
foot muscles are trying to work different. And I think I need that as I get back. So
I
I'm
have a very small home gym. I'm not at a gym barefoot because that's
nasty.
Thank you for saying that. I was like, how do I say this? Can I say nasty? That's nasty. Yeah. So, but you know, we have our little home thing, and I started doing that for that same reason because somebody was like, "Oh, it's about toe strength," and I was like, "Well, I don't know how to strengthen a toe, but
It's
you know,
like
the best
you got to
I can
use
do-
them.
I pull on them sometimes. I pull on her toes.
God.
Okay, well then that gets us
There you go. The
to
marriage bed is under fire. Let's go.
Oh my word! He's doing everything he can to embarrass you. I'm just telling you now.
we love it. We love it. So tell us about the podcast.
Yes.
Let's start there.
How did this come about?
And
You should
how's it going at home after the podcast?
Ooh, this is good. I like that. I'll take the second question. You take the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first, it's weird how it came about. It came about because I really thought to myself, there have to be people out there on the right this was before. Yes. It was like before. I said, there have to be sane people I can talk to. I used to follow like David French and a few other people. I even Googled. It was actually at when President Obama was saying, you know, don't argue with the trolls in the basement. Like try to have face-to-face conversations. And at the time I was like, I'm going to take that mantle and change my country. And I'm going to start with fun, you know. So I was like, there's got to be somebody. I wasn't able to find anybody necessarily.
It's like, and looked.
But I did look. I couldn't find
Did
nobody.
this begin with like chicks on the right? Is that?
I wasn't going to give them, yes, it was chicks on the right.
Okay.
I did it.
That's
But
a
you know,
great
Chicks on the right.
there was chicks on the right.
I like
and,
that.
And that's who I found initially, but then they kind of veered more and more right. I was like,
where it's
you know, so, and I even reached out to them, like email, because I was like, this has to be able to, we have to be able to have these conversations. Yeah. And I was just convinced, and I could not find it, but I was like, how do we have conversations about things we don't agree on?
Right.
Even while agreeing on our basic humanity.
Without them sort of devolving into argumentation, but still staying in the spirit of like, there's a give and take. There's a conversation that's not like sort of antagonistic, but like, all right.
And a real disagreement, though. Like a real, like I stand on this side of a thing and you stand on this side of a thing. But it turned out the only person that I could have those
was my husband.
Was my husband.
Well, and some people can't have it with their partner. So
yeah, they called husbands.
Not that. But we've known each other for so long that I think we came up with such similarities. We were born in the same hospital, both from St. Louis. We were both, you know, born to very religious families, you know, very close to our grandmothers. But then there were so many things within that were so polar opposite that we've discovered over the years that we can't obviously we can't change each other, but what we can change is but what we can do is learn to sort of live a little bit better with those disagreements. And so we were just standing around and, it was the strike.
We were in the middle of the strike, and Rye was also looking for
the actor strike,
a creative outlet that would feel good. And I've always been sort of reticent to work together. Because absence makes the heart grow fonder.
More than reticent, Sterling. You've been very resistant.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's nice to go off to work and come home and be like, how was your day? Oh, this was my day. That's how I feel.
Say.
All right, Ryan, what's your version of that?
What is your version?
You said, I don't want you annoying me at work.
Do you remember that, Sterling? Do you remember those words? That sounds right. Oh, man.
It sounds right, but not like, I want to be...
Not in a bad way.
Oh, no, not in a bad way. It's like, you should have your space and I should have mine.
That's what I'm talking about. You'll understand, Madam First Lady.
My word.
This segment, sponsored by Ship, is all about the comfort of knowing it's handled. There's something really comforting about realizing you don't have to carry everything on your own. When life is already full, having one less thing to worry about can make all the difference. It's that confidence and calm that come from knowing something is taken care of without having to micromanage it. And I think it really showed up for me when I went from being an assistant coach to a head coach. Being an assistant coach, there's tons of things you got to worry about. From recruiting to film exchange to setting up road trips to planning practices and workouts. You're responsible for executing all of these things as an assistant coach. But as a head coach, you have to oversee all of these things. This was a big change for me. And what really made my job as a head coach easier was my executive assistant, who not only could anticipate things, but she also thought like I did and could prepare me for any situation, whether it was prepping for a media spot or meeting with alums, parents, recruits, or if I just needed to know someone's name in a room full of people who I didn't know. She can anticipate that, and her reliability always made me feel like it's handled. I didn't have to worry. Misha, I'm curious, when you think back over your life, what are some of the moments that made you truly feel comfortable and calm?
Well, probably my 8 years in the White House for some of the same reasons that you described. I was kind of like the head coach of the office of the First Lady. And with so much on your plate, moving from one event to the next, I just didn't have the time or the capacity to worry about the details, whether we were going to be on time, who I was talking to at any given moment, what the weather was, how I was supposed to dress. So I had to rely on my team. And it was always a source of comfort to know that my team of people around me were on top of it, making sure that I had everything that I need so that when I entered a room, I could just be me.
That feeling of confidence is exactly what we're talking about. It's why I appreciate solutions that actually earn your trust. And thanks to Shipt for sponsoring this segment. With Shipt same-day delivery, I have one less thing on my mental checklist. Shipt offers that same-day delivery from a variety of favorite national stores and local retailers in one easy app. Shoppers with Shipt are known for exceptional attention to detail and quality service, so I can feel confident everything is handled with care. Try Shipt for yourself. Download the app or order now at shipt.com. That's SHIPT.com.
So, but I also thought that the concept for the podcast was something that was really cool and it sort of fit with the dynamic of our interplay. Like we're very Beatrice and Benedict, if you're familiar with Much Ado About Nothing, and just sort of like there's a verbal sparring that we have naturally that is fun without crossing a line.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we both cross the line, and after the podcast, we go, hey, listen, man. Did you have to say that part? And you're like, oh, I thought we were just fun. And I'm like, no, come on, man.
That
like,
one hurt.
That one hurt. We have this thing. So we have this thing where, we play the dozens. Me and my kids play the dozens.
Oh, here you go.
And like, they'll say
Well,
something.
wait. Let's explain the dozens because
Sure.
we got listeners who like the dozens. What's that?
It's, just sort of
Fair.
joning when you're like sort of like making fun of each other, but a good spirited sort of thing where it's not
Yes.
meant to hurt, but just
Gentle
sort of like
ribbing.
gentle
For
Gentle
the-
ribbing that
right.
sometimes gets serious.
Sometimes it gets
Yes.
serious.
Well, I didn't grow up with the gentle
well, let me
ribbing.
tell the story.
Okay, go
So-
ahead.
So I'm doing it with the fellas or whatnot, and then they'll be like, you look old, man. I said, your mama old. And they're like, that's your wife. And I'm like, I don't care. But that's just messing
Yes.
with them, right? And so I said something to Ryan, just sort of messing with her to get her to go back. And she goes, that's why your mama has ALS. And I was like, whoa, man.
Damn.
That's
Damn.
not
That's
Ryan.
That's not.
You ground rules.
You missed the
like,
whole. Did you not understand what was happening between the playfulness?
Oh, man. She just went right in. Like,
Wait a minute.
Ryan is like, I bet this will hurt.
Hang on, Ryan. Did you
She
have
got-
any brothers growing up?
She's an only child.
That's why.
She got deep.
I do have an older sister, but I did not grow up with my
didn't grow
older
up
sister.
with her.
Oh, my
and I
goodness.
did have cousins, but
Ryan's
I
like,
tried to-
isn't this the game?
Look, me and the boys all looked at each other
I'm
like,
like, oh.
It didn't quite go down quite like that.
All right,
but the
Ryan,
spirit
This
is.
is the point of winning.
I mean, well, yeah, that did happen.
The point is to win the argument.
It's like I know what will make to take
Yeah,
you
so
to
I
your
was like,
knees.
all right, we
So
won't
Brian,
do that with Mom.
what was your version of that approach?
My version was that we were going back and forth, and like I had run out of things to say, and then I did reach for that.
Yeah, it's not better.
It's not better.
Oh, sweetie, I thought you were like, everybody got a really bad thing to say,
Oh my god.
and I didn't want to stop.
That's great.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
how
good.
you end that argument
That's
right
how-
there.
I did not
Game
know
over.
how to do it.
It's done.
Yes.
Everybody
Oh,
go
my.
home. Everybody go wipe your
Oh.
tears.
Oh.
I know.
But getting back to the
Wait
podcast.
a minute. Your kids were in the room?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's even
We
better.
were all doing it with each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Those dudes
And then
are start
she chimed in.
Well, no, they're just like, we can't play with mom. Mom goes dark.
She goes.
Oh, mom. Mom doesn't know how to play. She can't play the game.
When they go low,
We go
Lord.
there.
Goes the way low.
Man, Ryan got out the shovel.
Sorry about it.
She got out the shovel.
I didn't know. I didn't
Oh,
grow
man.
up. I didn't know.
That's a
I
good
didn't
one.
know.
This is great.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
So I say
Oh.
that
Yeah.
to
I
say
was really
we
hoping we
have
wouldn't tell
this
that story.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And I also would say that because we've known each other since 18, we'll be celebrating 20 years of marriage in March.
Mm.
There are things at this point in time in our life that we can talk about that we probably couldn't have talked about
Yeah.
earlier in the marriage
Very
without
much
it
so.
feeling like we were reliving it. We can recount it now without reliving it.
Yeah.
So it was the right time.
Yeah.
It was the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I think you mentioned this on your podcast where it's like you want to sort of give a vulnerable and real portrait of something that, we can't ignore the fact, goals, look at them, da, da, da. And it's like you see a certain thing, but it did feel like there was a responsibility there
Yes.
somewhere that we were like, okay,
Yeah.
but we also want people to know what this really
Takes
is.
work,
Yeah,
man.
what
You know,
the
it
work
takes
is.
work, and we could really
Yeah.
talk about, the ways in which we struggled and the ways in which we didn't struggle and the things that, came easy to us and why, and the things that came difficult to us and why.
Mhm.
So that people really didn't, really don't think that it's just I woke up,
That's
found
yeah.
my soulmate,
Sure.
and every day is just
Yeah, that's right.
orchids.
That's right. Because don't you find that couples quit too soon? And we've seen this in young people. Now everybody's young, right, to us, but
Sure.
new couples. And
Right.
part of the reason why I talk about it being hard is not because I don't love my husband and we have a wonderful relationship. We've been married 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Some works, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't let people know about the tough times,
Right.
then I think they quit too.
They think that
Too
sometimes
soon.
you're in that, I guess it didn't work.
That's right. It
Right.
didn't
Right,
work.
right,
and then you quit too soon.
Sure.
And that's why I say things like you'll you can go through 10 years, bad years, right? In a 30-year marriage.
Yeah.
And that's still great odds. It's not a bad, you know.
Baby,
Oh my
sweat.
goodness
And every
gracious.
time I say it, people are like, "Oh Lord, I can't do 10." But if you were to play the odds of like, if you could have 10% of hard
Yeah.
for 90% of wonderful,
Sure.
you would take that every.
1,000%.
And that's
You
really
would.
the point. The point is that in any long relationship, there are going to be years, months, hours, long periods of time, if you add it all up, where things just don't feel right.
Right.
You don't quit on it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes that means you dig deeper. And if you
Yes.
don't dig deeper, you miss all the stuff on the end.
Yeah.
You know?
May I ask you a question that would
Yeah.
probably be cut out of the podcast?
No.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Craig's like,
can.
please.
You guys
See,
like
we
it.
agree,
Yes,
right?
you can.
To get real for a second, because I think Ryan and I had this conversation before too. In terms of the ups and downs, trials and tribulations, I'm missing it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
If kids were not a part of the equation, in terms of like, do you think that some of the tough times may have led to a separation that didn't?
That's a good
I know it's
question.
gonna get cut.
No. I'd like to think not. Here's what I think.
Sure.
Sometimes without kids, some of the tough times wouldn't happen, right?
Facts.
And this is why I say, look, it's great when it's just you two,
right.
you know?
Right.
And because there really isn't challenges with division of labor, because everybody can be their own individual people.
Right.
You go off, do your movie. Yay.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have our separate lives. And
Right.
then it's romantic. We get back together.
Sure.
The thing that makes that harder is when those beautiful, wonderful, lovely kids that we all want and
Come
love,
on
they
now.
show up
Yes, ma'am.
with their own agendas, you
Mhm.
know, with their own needs. And now it's the first major joint project
Right.
that you have to do together.
Yes.
And that's when the hard starts. You know, so I think a
Yes.
lot of our
Interesting.
hard
This is
was
interesting.
because of the kids,
I
who
hear
we
you.
love
Mhm.
deeply.
Very much so.
But I think without it, without them,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the hard things don't come up. All right, because you can go to the gym all you want when there are no diapers to be changed.
Thank
Oh,
you.
You know,
Lord.
you can do
Oh,
whatever
boy.
you want.
Y'all
as
know
lo-
each
who's
other, don't
who's
you?
driving
Y'all
to?
done talked to
Who
each other
do you know
before.
how
The
to make
Michelles
a
have been
dental?
talking.
Do you know how to make a dental appointment? Do you know where they go to the doctor? Do you know their doctor's name?
You started it, so
I
don't.
did.
You know.
You chime in, Chris. Come on,
Right?
now. What do you got to say to all?
I will say that. See, I've been married twice,
Okay.
and hopefully that'll only be twice.
Don't say hopefully.
I got you.
Definitely.
Oh, knocking on the
don't
wood.
say hopefully.
Yeah, no, it will be. But I will say the difference between the first and the second was that because the first marriage didn't work out,
Yeah.
the second marriage, I really intentionally talked about ground rules
Okay.
Mhm.
before getting married.
That's good.
I mean, look, athletes devote careers to a jump shot.
Sure.
Shoot shot after
That's a
shot, years
very
and
good
years
point.
and years and years and years.
Yes.
You have one bad argument, you have one bad year in a marriage,
I'm done.
and you're done. Or you have
Yeah.
3 bad years and you're
Yeah.
done. And look, the level of muscle that Barack and I have in our marriage is earned. It's
Yeah.
earned over time.
Right.
And it's only gotten better. And I think that's the point. It gets better. And then if you quit too soon, you'll rob yourself of the success of the better,
Mhm.
the work that goes in.
Yeah.
And we've been married 30 years. We're healthy people. We could be married for another 30 years.
Yes, you can.
That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yes.
And it could be 30 years of absolute bliss,
Yeah.
you know, because we've done the work. We've gotten over the hump. Our kids are grown. They're out. We're looking at each other like, hey, remember you. Now I'm not mad about anything because I don't need you to do anything.
Okay. Wait,
For me.
you
That-
guys are ahead of us because I want to ask these questions. I have questions for you. You guys are actually on our podcast right now. This is every once in a while we have these moments about empty nesting
Mhm.
and like the joint venture that you're talking about and how much time and resource that you spend on these both two people, right?
Mhm.
And then the idea of like what happens when that project is over, and have you neglected the time that you need to pour into one another because you've been pouring into these two beautiful people. Like, did you look at each other like, oh man, now we got to do this again? Or do you feel like you prepared yourselves knowing that the nest was about to be empty and be like, all right, Barack, all right, like how are we going? We need to make sure that we are straight in this moment.
I think we're still developing that part of ourselves, right? I mean, our youngest graduate, well, she went to college. She's been out for 5 years, right? My math is always
Graduated
wrong.
from college 5 years ago.
Left, when I say leave, left for college.
Right.
Okay.
Right? Because that's the beginning of the leaving.
Correct.
Like you packed your bags and you're not going to be living here for 9 months. That's a good one.
For sure.
It's a good start,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I might go in the suitcase.
We'll talk when you get there because you haven't even gotten through the teen years.
No,
you know,
you're
they're
teen
still
years, so
precious,
Lord have mercy.
right?
We have the 14-year-old is beginning the
It
process
start,
of
you know,
separating.
they just, you know, you'll be ready
Okay.
when it's time.
Okay.
That was knowing.
Yeah, you're going to be ready.
You'll
You're going to be ready. But I think it's a new phase for us, which takes time.
Sure.
It's going to take, like, we're in a new phase of life. My husband did the hardest job. He reached the top of the thing you could do.
Sure.
Now he's got work to do, individual work to figure out where am I going to be? What do I want to say? Who do I want to be? I'm doing the same thing, right? That's a whole new assignment, right? That you have to factor in to the newness of now we're doing this. We're back to just me and him. It takes time, is all I'm saying. All of these new stages take time for adjustment. When you guys when the boys were infants, you know, when one was just coming out of diapers, and that's a whole new phase. When you know you move from everybody's in a crib to people are walking around. Like that, that can change the whole nature of your interaction with your partner.
With each other.
And it takes time. So we think this stuff, this is like really hard, complicated stuff that you are negotiating with another person. You know, all I'm saying is like it all takes time, and to think that there aren't going to be bumps along the way of each of those phases.
Yeah.
Right?
This is okay, wait. So this is interesting. I love this conversation. This is wonderful. This is wonderful, Michelle. Thank you so much. So in my mind, like the question is for the listener in terms of navigating tough times, and Craig being on a second marriage now, when do tough times become a step too far? What is the deal breaker? Like Ryan and I say, for the most part, it's like, there are no deal breakers for us. They're just things that we have to negotiate. They're things that we figure out. I say a rather crude thing about, if you did this very bad thing to me.
Sterling.
Do you want me to say it?
No, I do not.
Would I embarrass you?
let's say it.
Embarrass me.
Say it. Okay. We don't want to embarrass.
It's scatological humor.
Okay.
And I won't go into it.
Okay.
It is funny, but it's not.
It's funny, but it's not for the literati.
Yeah, okay.
But I was like, if you did this awful thing to me, that would be the deal breaker, right? And it's really something that she would never do.
Okay, yes.
Right?
I can imagine.
Have an idea of what you're talking about.
But my question is
ahead, Tom.
in terms of navigating these difficult times, right? For people who are also in the midst of difficult times, who are probably asking themselves, what's the difficulty that's too much? Obviously, if there's anything that's physical, that's transpiring inside of a relationship, don't stay in some sort of abuse. Well, I would say even verbal, psychological, physical, etc. Abuse is not something that is meant to be tolerated. Outside of that, I'm curious, like, do you feel like there are deal breakers or things that you feel like people should walk away from, or everything is meant to just find your way through?
I'll start.
Please.
Because I will say now in my relationship with Kelly now, there are probably no deal breakers for me.
Sure.
She might have some, but there's probably nothing for me. We could probably work through anything that I could think of,
right,
aside from your scatological.
There you
go. But I think we can make our way through it. But I wouldn't have said that when we first got together.
Okay.
That's years of work. That's years of talk. That's years of both going through our own difficulties and coming out of it, and together having difficulties and coming out of it. And you emerge at a different level of understanding, a higher a higher being, just that at a higher level of understanding. That's how I feel.
Sure.
I mean, it would really have to be something that I couldn't have seen coming that was so bad.
Right.
But then I would be so worried that what was I in this relationship to make you want to do something that bad? I got to take the responsibility of it. So that's just my own growth over the years.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ma'am?
30 plus years in, I mean, like he's me. We're so intertwined at this stage in life. Our experiences, our challenges, our family are like, he would have to become a different person. Like that I would be like, who took over your body?
Sure.
And then we would be going to doctors, and I would probably call the FBI, and I mean, because I'd have to be like, this something happened to my husband.
Right.
It's not the same person,
right.
and then I'd be worried, like, what is going on? Right?
No,
I felt that.
Raise your hand if you've been putting off a checkup, a dental cleaning, any kind of doctor's appointment. Yeah, my hand's up too. I'll tell myself I'm fine and keep it moving. But we can't take care of business if we're not taking care of our health. This year, we're doing it differently. You know that feeling when you leave a doctor's office and think, they really listened? That's what we're looking for. And you can find doctors like that on ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. You can book in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states. Search by specialty or symptom, from primary care to dentistry to dermatology, and more than 200 plus specialties. See verified patient reviews, check real-time availability, and click to book instantly. No phone tag. Appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours, even same day. I use this and you should too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/IMO to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/IMO. ZocDoc.com/IMO. Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message. This episode of IMO is brought to you by Indeed. You know, I've been thinking a lot about careers lately, especially in a job market like this. One thing I've learned is that you really have to think outside the box when it comes to your path. Nothing about my own journey has been linear. I've made pivots, followed my curiosities, leaned into the strengths and skills I had at the time, and somehow all of that kept opening doors I never would have pictured for myself. And honestly, being willing to evolve made my whole career feel more dynamic and rewarding. The roles I ended up loving weren't always the ones I initially imagined. They were the ones that aligned with who I was becoming. But let's be real, the process of finding those roles, it can feel like a second job. I remember stretches where searching, applying, waiting, it was exhausting. That's why I love what Indeed is doing with Career Scout. It's designed to make the whole process faster, easier, and a lot more intentional. Career Scout actually looks at your skills and interests and sources opportunities you might not have even realized were a fit. It's like having your own career coach working behind the scenes, helping tailor your resume, matching you to roles that align with your strengths, even supporting you with interview prep. It takes something that can feel overwhelming and makes it manageable. And honestly, if I had Career Scout earlier in my career, it would have saved me so much time and helped me tap into my strengths more quickly. It's a game changer when you're ready for that next step. Indeed's mission is to empower people to use their skills to find better work, and Career Scout is their latest innovation to help you do that. The future of job searching is here, and it's called Indeed Career Scout. Try it today in the Indeed app.
knowing you guys' origin story,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's so different because Mish didn't meet Barack until later.
Right.
I didn't meet my first wife until after, and I didn't meet Kelly till way later.
Sure.
You guys knew each other
Freshman year.
freshman
Mhm.
year
Mhm.
and are still
Mhm.
together. I want to know,
Yeah.
how does that happen?
How does that happen? What do you have to say to that, Bird?
Well, I think because I always look at it like life kept throwing us back together, you know, and similar to like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like we would go away.
Yeah.
We would purposefully go away.
Yeah.
Bye.
And life would just keep tossing us back in the same. Our very first job, we were not speaking. We had just graduated from grad school, and
I
I
talked
never
about this
forget.
recently.
Yeah, this was on your first episode.
Did
You all
we talk about this?
on
I
your
don't-
first episode?
I don't. Did we? Did we
It
talk
was an
about our
under
first?
5 on the guiding
It was
light.
under 5 on Guiding Light, and I
Yeah.
remember where I was when they said you got the job, and I was so excited. It was your first
Mhm.
job. I was in one of those
Wow.
like those big stores on like 42nd, like not H&M, but like
Mhm.
VIM. Anyway, your jeans and sneaker store. I was in VIM. I never forget because I always wanted to go. It's like it's the commercial. So I was in VIM and I was looking at stuff and they were like, and you got the job. I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, right? And they were like, and you got your other classmate is in. And I was like, who? And they said, Sarah Surrey is one of my dear, dear friends. I was like, yes, Sarah Surrey. And another classmate. I was like, who? And they were like, Sterling Brown. And I was like, they're like, hello? You said, I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. Yay. Like we were not speaking.
No,
and we
weren't.
played
Yeah.
a husband and wife
That is correct.
in a Lamaze class
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
on Guiding Light.
For sure.
Wow. Why weren't you all speaking? What happened?
I don't
Who did what? Was it mad? I'm not speaking, or you
Wait,
just weren't in
They
touch?
No,
were
it
on
was
and off. Y'all were
mad.
on
It
and
was-
off
it
for
was-
the time they
Yeah.
met.
It was who?
I think
It
you
doesn't matter.
weren't
The point
speaking
is-
to me.
No, you weren't
Well,
speaking to
hold
me,
on.
Sterling.
No,
'cause-
facts. Facts. But what I'm saying is, like, we did our last show at NYU, which was Midsummer Night's Dream.
yes.
And I see you come off stage. I'm like, yo, man, you just ripped that scene. I just want you to know it was really good. And you just walk.
Because who asked you, Sarah? Nobody asked.
You ghosted before there was a
Who
term
asked,
ghosted. huh?
Sarah? Oh, did you do something? You know what you did. Like,
So-
that's not.
But after sustained neglect, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop trying now. So we had stopped talking to each other. So we get on set to do this scene, and what happens is, anytime she knows that I've pulled away, she purposefully is like, "Hey, Sterling, how are you? What's going on?" Like, and
Okay,
she's
now
like,
that's true.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
"Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? It's good to see you. Whatever." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So we had to do this scene, and she's sitting in my lap. She's pregnant, and
Yeah.
I'm holding her up or whatnot. And the Lamaze instructor is going by, and she said, "And Dad, you're gonna have to look after the mommies. You're gonna have to do this and that, and give them sponge baths and everything like that." And the line goes, Ryan looks over her shoulder, and she looks at me, and she goes, "Sponge baths?" And I look at her, and I say, "All the time, except." When we do our line, she looks at me and she's touching me and all this stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, Lord, please stop touching me." And then she looks at me and she goes, "Sponge baths?" And I look directly in her forehead.
Yes.
And I said, "All the
He couldn't
couldn't-
look me in the
did not
eye.
And you
that
looked
shit.
over, and
I
she could
looked
tell.
right
She
there.
Yeah,
could
She
tell.
could
Yeah,
tell,
and I'm doing
but the
this.
camera could not.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this in
Like,
the scene,
look
trying
at
to
me,
make him
baby.
look in the eye.
That's my camera right there. Brown gonna make it look real.
He's like, that's why I'm an actor.
That's why I'm here. Man, she was
Wait.
getting on my nerves.
Wait, now I want to
mean,
digress
Please.
just for an acting thing, because you husband and wife, both actors.
Yeah.
When does the discussion happen about each other doing makeout scenes with someone else?
It's a great
Oh,
decision.
wait,
This is a
it just
very good
jumped.
question.
Because
Well,
of course,
he
that's what
reminded
the
me.
man wants to know.
Well, no, it's
How do you? No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's a question.
I think
that
the
people,
public. Yeah.
The public wants to
I've
know.
never heard anyone ask that question.
Yep.
Because either people don't have an opportunity, or
Mhm.
they're just like, I'm not gonna bring it up.
It is acting. And what a lot of people don't realize, it's not as glamorous as you think it is. There's sweat, and like people are coming to powder you, and you have to hit this right angle because the camera can't see something or what have you. And it's very sort of like choreographed or whatnot. And I always tell the Bird, I was like, "Hey man, make them look like you know what's going on. Like don't let them
Show
think
up.
that don't let them think that we ain't having a good time up in this place, you know what I'm saying? Like we know how to get in there. So like, don't go out and act
Act like you know what you're
represent
doing,
the
girl.
family. is what I'm trying to say.
Show them you got skills.
There's no real jealousy in that sort of arena there because like we both have said, like, to do it well, it's not about pretending as much as it is investing in the given circumstances so much that you are living the truth of that character in that time. So you got to fall in love a little bit. And you got to be attracted a little bit. And that doesn't threaten anything that we have because we know where we sleep at night. We know who we've made our vows to, et cetera, et cetera. It just means I want you to act well. And hopefully you want me to act well. And that we can, and sometimes, here's the other thing, you can take some of the energy that you got on set and bring that home. And bring that home,
Birdie.
Bring that home. That's just me. That's the, because a lot of people ask that question, like, how do you do that? How does that? It's my job. It's her job. And you do it.
Have you ever felt?
I just don't watch.
He
doesn't know this, but I when the scenes come up, I just close my eyes.
I'm gonna get some ice cream.
Yeah. I just don't watch. I don't want to.
Fast forward.
I just don't watch.
Yeah, I don't know if I could watch.
Yeah. It's not. I don't even like watching myself though.
She does.
You know what I mean? Especially in those particular, I don't like watching myself necessarily. I have to because I have to see what I've done wrong or what I did. But, I have to see. But certain things, there are things on First Wives Club that I still haven't watched myself do. I was like, no, I don't need to see that. Like, and for me, I think it's the only way that I can sort of do what you say in terms of like living in that moment.
Yeah.
I have to just kind of like, take a deep breath, live in the moment, and then I really just have to let it go. And it has to stay gone for me. Yeah. So I can't ruminate on the scene and I can't ruminate on your scenes. And I just have to, I just don't watch.
Well, that makes me think, well, like you guys didn't answer the question really. It's like, how have you worked through some of the tougher times in your marriage? And does one particular time stand out to you?
So Craig was saying something earlier about like, two actors navigating the industry together, right? And so there's something about, you're going to have your own take on this, and that's fine. And I just ask that you let me finish my take first.
Okay. We don't always agree. Go ahead.
You don't always agree, and he is preparing for you not to agree.
I just ask that you allow me to finish my take first.
I love that.
Before you offer yours.
Okay.
Please and thank you. Appreciate it. There is sometimes this feeling of like, all right, when there's momentum happening in one person's career, you have a desire for momentum in your own career as well. And while you can say and truly believe that like we are doing very well right now, whether it's financially or otherwise, if the other person isn't experiencing something that is validating for them on a personal level, whatever's transpiring for you may feel very separate and distinct. And so I will say that there are times in which I'm like, how do I make sure that my wife feels included and acknowledged and appreciated as there's a certain level of momentum transpiring in my life? And there's varying degrees of success in terms of us feeling connected in it and separate in it. Though so that's an ongoing thing that I'm navigating. After you.
I would say, George Burns was asked this question about his long, Hollywood marriage to Gracie. And he said, we never fell out of love at the same time. And I can look back at our relationship, and I really do believe that I don't know that that's a deal that we've made or something that's just kind of sustained us.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever fallen out. And even before we got married, I would say that when one pulled away, the other one was like, and when, you know what I mean? So I don't think we've ever decided at the same time, I'm done with you. And so I think that there's something that makes one of us, if not both of us, but at least one of us is always pulling for us.
I would agree with that.
And so I think that that's at the very, very core, at the very, very root of it. We believe in therapy. We very much believe in therapy. I think that has given us an opportunity to kind of see the forest for the trees. Like what you were talking about is like, okay, you might have some bad years. Like it's only been 6 months. Like let's see what happens when the baby is walking.
Mhm.
And then that's a whole nother corner for verb, that literally and figurative that you're going to
Yes.
turn together. I also think that because we have the children,
We do have
again, as you'd like to say that, well, no, it's not. We're not just staying for the kids. You'd like to say that, but it is. We do know that there's something bigger now
Mhm.
than just the both of us and whatever is going on at that moment. Yes, I can be very volatile, and I can, there were
Say it again in the microphone.
No,
so-
I am not.
I
I'm not
heard you.
going
I
to say
heard
it.
you, Brian.
But like you asked, like what things that you thought about when you were younger that you wouldn't put up with.
Right.
Like there is definitely a 19-year-old me that would have had the time of her life with a very dramatic, I'm packing this bang, and I'm
Sure.
like
It's
that would have been part
right.
of the fun, right?
Right.
The,
Right.
the whole
Right.
Chase
right?
me, chase
Yes,
me, come
chase me.
find me.
Yeah.
Girl, you know what to say. And girl, we gonna meet. Where we gonna meet? Like the whole. I
Yeah.
think I did that when I was pregnant. When I was because I gave birth at home,
Mhm.
and I remember there was
Stuff going on.
stuff
A lot
going
of
on,
it.
and I looked at
Mhm.
my hand. I was like, it's bloody, and I put it on the wall, and I was like, ah! And I screamed so that I could have the bloody handprint down. The wall.
Is that- I do remember
okay,
that.
Brian.
I
All
was like, I
right.
gotta
It was a
wash
lot.
this
It was a lot in
wall.
that
This
moment.
is-
It was,
This is the only child drama.
It was.
Girl,
It's
let me
strong.
hold you.
It's
Oh,
strong.
baby.
Reach out.
Oh,
There you go.
I
Me
love
and you shall
you.
never part. There you
Oh
go. Make it
my
happen.
God, I love it.
Make it happen.
So you can think of some stuff.
I really can.
Ma'am.
I really can.
Ma'am.
But I
Yes.
think that I have put a lot of that and said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
now you have you. It's not just you and this the dramatic moments and all of those things. There is something bigger that's calling you, and it is those 30 years on the other side.
Mhm.
It's the children and what we can provide, and it's all of that, and it just feels bigger than just whatever that small moment is, or even that big moment. That's not to say that there haven't been big moments.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that there's something bigger that calls us to fight for what we have.
I'm going to go back and just combine the two things together, because it feels like when things are difficult, if we feel as if we are in them together, they are way easier to endure
Mhm.
Yeah.
versus when we feel as if we're separate in it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's always like, that's probably the toughest times that we have, when we feel like we're going through something as a couple, as a family, and or individually, and we don't feel like we're on the same page. Those are the times that are the most difficult, I would say.
Yeah.
Brian, I want to just check in with you on, because you talked about the fact that you sacrificed your career to be there for your kids. You made some choices. That is the story of so many women out there. We're still, we can talk about being equal partners and so on and so forth, but we give birth. Our bodies change. We are constantly adapting in ways that our male partners do not have to do it. It's a part of it. And so we wind up saying you can have it all, but not at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes that's easier said than experienced.
Most of the time, it's easier said
Right.
than experienced.
I'd love to hear more from you about how you felt through those moments, and how I know you're still dealing in those moments, and how does that? How are you coping with that reality?
That is an excellent question.
Very good question.
Yeah, it. Gosh, that's a really good question, because when you first, you can see it. I mean, you're pregnant and everything. Everybody's like, "Oh, so excited for the both of you," and then you look down. You're looking at you. You look, you know what I mean? And you're slowing down, and you're changing, and you're waddling, and this. Like, wait a minute, how? Like, I'm already slower than I had really bad hyperemesis, which is when you just, you're sick, and and then. Not sharing any of that.
He's going to the gym.
Going to the gym.
I'm gonna get a good workout in. And you're like, shut up.
That makes everybody mad. I see this now. This is a universal thing.
And then he tried to tell me, and the baby was brand new. He's in the gym. He's like, but I'm working out outside in the garage. you're welcome. Like, and he really felt like he had given me this very magnanimous gift. And I was like, if I could get up from this couch and beat you into some, like I would, and again, it's you're watching. And again, you want to be, that's the pull, I think, that a lot of women don't realize. Women don't realize the kind of mother they're going to want to be until the baby shows up.
There you go.
And you have no idea. No idea. Some women decide, whether it's breastfeeding, whether it's whatever it is, you don't know. It's an experiential thing. And when all those decisions are made very deeply in your core, and I don't want to say they're made on the fly, but they're made in these sort of like, just the baby's here, that's the decision.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had all these plans, right? And everybody told you, girl, you're going to snap back. Girl, all you have to do, remember how we read them? You just do the cleanse, girl. Do the cleanse. And you're like, okay, well, and in your mind, you really believe that you're going to just do this cleanse. You're going to pop back. You're going to put that baby in a little pouch and you're just going to, you
drop them off somewhere or have somebody else come in. You don't even know how you'll feel about that.
You don't know how you're going to feel about
when you'll be ready for that.
You don't know how much it's going to cost.
Yeah. Ooh, yes.
You don't know that the woman that you want to hire was given a signing bonus. But
I tell the story when we did find a babysitter that was really, really good, and she came to us at everything. I was back to work. I love this woman. She was a part of our family. Loved the girls, and she just needed to make more money, and we couldn't pay her more money, and she left. And I still feel that I feel I was losing my real partner in this endeavor. And, I wouldn't have thought I would have felt that way about my babysitter.
I know.
And that sent me spinning. That one thing sent me spinning in a fit of deep desperation that I would have never thought I'd experienced.
I mean, and having had that experience, I understand. If I had kids, I'd be sitting here going, oh, that sounds like a lot. It's like, you sure? I mean, maybe you should. Is that PTSD? But you have to experience that. Like Zoila is Zoila Palacios is our girl. I call her my sister wife.
Yeah.
She and
shout out to Zoila.
Zoilita.
Hey girl, we love you.
We do.
We love our Zoilas in our lives.
Because you have that, that. What we grew up with that village, the grandparents, like somebody, my grandmother never left the house. Somebody was always dropping a child off at that woman's house. And my grandmother was like in her 70s and could barely walk. And here, I'm like, whose toddler is that?
She's like, I got him.
And nobody batted an eyelash. Yeah. Didn't have a thing and not near in a socket in the house. The little thingies.
That's right.
Nothing to protect them from themselves.
And nobody was worrying about what strain of food they were eating. Whatever grandma gave you
was totally fine. Like, she has some fat back and some sauce and a
baby
biscuit.
holding on to some kind of bone. It's like, I think they should have meat. They'll be fine.
And nobody questioned it, right? And
you just knew your baby was loved and safe.
Yeah, because my grandmama had them, and
those communities are gone.
That. We didn't have that. So we're some of the first people who don't have that. Yes. And so then we have to hire that and find that. And to your point, it's like losing it is losing a family member. It is losing a crucial part. And you don't know what you're going to feel and experience until you get there. And again, to your point about each season. So now I'm like, okay, well, it should be getting easier, right? Because they're older and I got a 14-year-old and I'm like, oh, well, I'm a chauffeur, but I'm like, I clearly need to ride the bus with you. I clearly need to be in every class. I clearly need to be at stop. Because what is happening? He thinks he can. He told me once, he was like, all I need to do is learn how to use this toaster oven, and then I've got it. Like, I'm basically a man. Right. And I was like, you don't know the Wi-Fi code.
All I need is a credit card and a driver's license. I can live on my own. He said
that. Did he say it? He said, all I need you guys to do is take me where I need to go.
No, That's a big one. But
Just
but for
take me where I
that,
need to go, then
I'm
I
a
can
man.
handle everything
For
else.
that. I was like, and
But
who's
for
going to pay
that.
for school?
And he didn't even mean it
Didn't think
meanly.
about that
He was
part.
like, please, just leave me
Matter
alone.
of fact.
You can take me where I
Mhm.
need to go.
He did ask me when he was 3
So
and he was
funny.
said something. Something was happening. He was 3 and he was like, why are you always in my business?
That's Michael
That's
Corleone.
Oh
That's
my
Michael
God.
Corleone right
Yeah.
there.
I was like, you are your
Never
father's
ask
child.
me
That's
about my
another thing.
business,
The
Mom.
thing that you love about this man, you
Just
are
one
gonna see it in
time,
a
I'll let you
child.
Yes,
one
that's
time.
true.
And
Just
then
one
you
time.
have to raise them. And you're like, oh Lord, I should have thought this
Yeah.
through.
Mm.
all
But
of
every
that to
phase
say,
is different. And now you're, just when you thought,
just when you think.
because you didn't know.
Again, it's the experience of it. And it's like,
Mhm.
and now you see, oh, this is how things can go left. Because you think it's when they're little and you're just
Mhm.
pouring in, you're pouring it. And that's
Don't
the
you
other
want
thing.
those days back when they were so in your control and all you had to worry about them was falling and scraping a knee? And now they are in the world, this
Walking
world.
around.
This is a good conversation, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are good.
Oh.
No, you
we just learning. We were learning from the experts.
No, I
here.
feel the same. I feel like even in the Rise approach, and I feel you guys are similar, is like we try to enter into everything with a level of curiosity. We're not
Mhm.
experts on anything and just hoping to learn. Like we're all in a process of evolving to become the best form of ourselves. And I think in doing that, like there is just sort of like, teach me. Like I'll share
Yeah.
a thought and then
Mhm.
let's see how it all sort of reverberates in the
Yeah.
in the cipher.
That's
if
right.
you
Yeah.
will.
That's right.
Well, what I love about doing this, aside from getting to spend time with my little sister
Yes, sir.
on a regular basis, is that I learn something new in every conversation.
Mm.
And even at this age, to come to work every day and feel like you're learning something new is inspirational.
Yeah. Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed.
We agree.
Yeah.
We all agree.
Yeah.
Well, we have a question
Okay.
that
Oh.
we get from our watchers and listeners.
Oh, this is good.
And
Yes.
this one is from our hometown, Jackie from Chicago.
Come on, Chi-Town.
I love Chicago.
Hey, Michelle and Craig. Shout out from Chicago. I'm writing to seek your advice about my relationship with my husband of 5 years. We both teach at the college level and share a deep commitment to education and our students. And much of our connection is built on a love of learning and a belief in bettering ourselves and the world. However, our creative paths and temperaments are quite different. I work in substance abuse social work, and my husband is a musician and visual artist with a strong creative drive. We each experience our work so differently. My husband tends to experience excited, creative highs surrounding performances and exhibits, followed by times of withdrawal and low mood after he's done or between shows. In those times, he's focused on his classes and getting the next show off the ground, but he can seem quiet and distant at home. He kisses me goodnight, tells me he loves me, but doesn't initiate much conversation or interaction. Although I need some creativity with problem solving in my work, I'm not involved in the creative arts at all and don't necessarily experience the same emotional waves. Here's where I need your advice. I sometimes find myself hesitating to ask for intimacy or suggesting going out on a date when my husband is experiencing these moments of just needing to recharge by sitting together quietly watching TV. I worry if I ask for affection or conversation or intimacy during these phases, I'll sound selfish or insensitive. But if I don't speak up, I start to feel disconnected and dissatisfied. I want to be a supportive partner during his creative slumps, but I also need to feel seen and wanted, and I miss the closeness that comes from shared moments out or together in bed. How can I best balance his need for space and creative solitude with my own needs for intimacy, affection, and quality time? How do I show up as a good partner who values his mental health and well-being without losing sight of what I want and need in our relationship? Thanks so much for all your great work.
I'm gonna tell Jackie to get out of my marriage.
Welcome to IMO.
What? Jacqueline? Wow. Because here's the thing, and you'll probably say the same thing, possibly or not. I think I'm Jackie.
Mm.
Are you Jackie?
I think I'm Jackie.
Ryan's like, I'm Jackie.
That's what I was about to say. That's why I was like, you may feel the same way. But she asked you guys, so you guys.
No, she's asking the
She's
table.
asking
She's
everybody.
asking the table.
I mean, I'll start on it because, like, I feel like we had a conversation kind of like this last night.
Oh, wow.
like
Tell us
last
more. Are you
night.
okay, Ryan? We
Yeah,
ready?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm wondering where he's
pray tell,
going.
Let me get
No,
my.
but it was about sort of, for me, understanding the nature between acceptance and resignation. In terms of like, this is what it is, like what to fight to change and what to accept in its current status and be at peace with. And like the difference between acceptance and resignation, as far as I can conceive of in this moment, is acceptance has a certain level of peace and resignation has a certain level of sorrow. And sort of like when to fight, when not to fight, when to yield, etc. So I can say this and you step in, please, because this I want a back and forth on this one because it'll feel better.
Okay.
My experience of Rye when she is working versus when she is not working is very different. And there is a level of just sort of like joy and because there's a certain level of fulfillment from coming to do because she's enjoying doing the thing that she's want to do, what she wants to do, right? And so we ride a wave sometimes.
Yeah.
We ride a wave sometimes. And
do you feel closer when she's in that joy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hands down. Hands down.
So the not working part you describe as that's Ryan's slump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree, disagree. I mean, you speak on it because
To
I don't
an
want to go
extent.
too far. Yeah.
I'm back to Jackie.
Come on.
It's like,
I was trying to
touche,
discern,
as the children would say.
Is she talking about the times when her husband is not working at all on something creative? Or is she talking about the low that comes from like coming off of stage, right? Because that's a real thing. Like you come off of stage and you have this high from doing whatever it is, and then you come off and you're just buzzing. And then you kind of go into a slump either like immediately after. So I'm trying to discern, is she talking about he's had this incredible emotional high, he's come off stage and now he's home and he's like, ugh, like feeling the after effects of that. And that's when she wants to sort of step in? Or is it he's been on a creative journey, had a wonderful time, and then he's in between creative journeys? So I
read it as the latter.
The latter.
But
okay.
that's how that's a good question. That's how I interpreted it because it sounds like, those periods, because the after stage, I need a day is a different would create a different emotional instability for Jackie than I'm not in my element for a year or months, right?
Right.
And that could lead to the kind of disconnection that she's talking about.
Yeah.
So I interpret it as these are, there are periods in a creative person's life when things aren't coming, things aren't gelling. And Jackie's partner seems to get really low and disconnected. That's how I'm reading it.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. This is hard. This is a very difficult question. I think that there has to be, we already said that your happiness is your own responsibility, right? And I don't want to tell Jackie necessarily to go do her own thing. But I do think that there's something about creating structures around these times, especially if you know that these are times that happen. If I'm not sure in their relationship, because she mentioned that they were both professors. So I'm wondering if it might be easier for them to create structures around this, because maybe there are like set points in a year where he's like, I just finished a show, or, something like that. So maybe it's helpful. I hope this is helpful for Jackie to set up those structures when she knows he needs a couple of weeks. And maybe put a timer on it. Jennifer Aniston said something that I love. She said that her therapist told her, you get a year to grieve this, like to the day, like, and it starts now. Now you're on the clock. And when that year is up, we're done. And I do think that there's something to that. Maybe there's something to giving him 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. And she knows those 3 weeks are coming, so she can set up her own life, her own, not saying she should go on a vacation. Although, Jackie, if you go on a vacation, that's not the worst idea.
Yeah, right.
But maybe there's a way that she can know that these things are coming. He can have his time. And then when those 3 weeks are up, he has to re-engage with her. So maybe both of them can have what they need. And he may not understand that he may not even know it's happening because it's just how life has been for him. And now he has to contend with another person. And his way of dealing with it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I latch on to the question of, should I communicate these thoughts? That's Jackie was asking. And I would say, yes, you communicate to your partner how this is making you feel, because maybe you don't feel like you're in a safe space. But I think at the very core, I would say, Jackie, it is not helpful for you to hold on to these feelings and not involve your partner in this challenge.
1000%.
And it may be better to do it in a time where he's up, rather than piling on at a time when he's perhaps already emotionally vulnerable. So thinking ahead to like, okay, assuming that all else is fine and they're not teetering on the brink, that she's got to remember how she feels when times are good, or remember the bad times when times are good. Because sometimes it's hard to have a conversation when everything is a tough conversation when everything is good.
Right.
Yeah.
But it might be necessary for her to say, hey, you winning. Look at you. You just created this and now you're coming home. Now let's talk about last month. I didn't want to share this with you, but, I don't even know if you notice, but when things aren't going well for you, you tend to show up in this way. It makes me feel this and feel that. Can we talk about that? Do you see it in the same way? Because she also wants to get a sense of what is he really feeling? She's interpreting what she thinks he's feeling if she hasn't asked. So she's got to give him some space to say, right, wrong.
Yes.
No, that's not it. Or, ooh, spot on. And then in that moment, let's talk through this. Let's talk through a plan. And I think this, Ryan, is where the plan of, can we get some agreement now that if we both agree that you're doing this and that it's making me feel this way, how can we resolve it? And is there a period of time? Is there a signal? Is there a word? Or do we set up a structure that no matter what, we're always going to go on a date night once a month. We're always going to mark the box when we are intimate. We're just going to practice our way through your bad time. But that's got to be a joint.
Yes.
Yeah, because he may not know. That's what he may not even realize, especially if this is something that he's been doing, before they got married. So it may be a complete blind spot for him.
Yeah.
It might be a blind spot, Jackie.
It might be a blind spot.
But that's good. So we got some points for Jackie. And I think it starts with the communication part.
Yes.
You have to communicate it. And then
and she shouldn't feel guilty or feel like she should hold on to it.
Yeah, there's some other issues there if she doesn't feel like she can communicate.
There's something that I think that may not have been fully articulated that was part of our conversation in terms of what you said, man. If you make a bid for connection and you feel as if that bid for connection gets rejected, then it's like, then what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh boy, it's like playing double dutch sometimes. Like, when do I get in with this cat to try to make this connection? And if you got hit by the rope, you're like, damn, I didn't get in at the right time.
Yeah. You got to be blunt though.
Yeah.
You have to be blunt if that happens.
Okay.
Speak
on it, coach. Come on.
In my experience, you can't tiptoe into the rope, right? Or if you tiptoe into the rope, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
But if you go in confidently and bluntly, you're going to jump right in and get your steps down.
That's good.
That is good. Maybe that's what she
good.
needs. She just needs the confidence to boldly say what her truth is.
Or I need to have a deeper conversation about what's going on here. And that gets to the negotiation, which gets to your structures. I mean, I love the structure. I'm a structure person. Like, just
you have 30 points.
Coach me up. Coach me up.
Yeah.
And I will do what I can. But, and sometimes in these relationships, and I don't want to get too far afield, I want Jackie to hear those 3 points.
Sure.
But I also want to talk about how Jackie can't be one of these folks who gets upset because the guy is like, coach me up. She doesn't want him to say, coach me up. She wants him to figure it out on his own.
Can you expecting people to read your mind? Is what you're talking
Can't
about.
expect people to read your mind, which is why you gotta go in bluntly.
Okay.
That's why you gotta go in bluntly.
Well, and then you gotta also acknowledge that for Jackie, expressing her intimacy needs could feel it could feel risky. It may make her feel vulnerable. I mean, sometimes having to ask, that might tap into some insecurities about her. It's like, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe so, sometimes that I want you to read my mind stuff is about, like, don't make me say it.
Come on, empathy.
Like, don't make me say it because it's hard for me and I feel unsafe. And this is where you got to know your partner, because what's their history of safety and intimacy?
I am Jackie.
Sterling.
I am Jackie.
Like you guys had someone on your podcast who was talking about the edge of vulnerability, like finding the edge in terms of the vulnerability with your partner. And I feel like this is like,
This is probably,
that was
Orna.
Orna.
Yes. And this is very much that. Like, she
Yeah.
is really Jackie sounds like she's at the edge.
Yeah.
To your point about, like, well, there's something there that's very scary for her. And she's at that edge and, like, teetering,
Yeah.
But I think she may feel unsafe. But
Sterling is feeling it.
I'm like, okay.
You need me to hold your hand.
I take it.
I know, just let it go.
Bless you.
You are
No,
good
just-
enough.
Listen.
You strong. I love you.
Ryan's like, please, boy.
You are loved.
Calm
You are
down.
beautiful.
I think Jackie is, she chose this partner for a reason. And I think she should remember that, and remember that it may feel unsafe, but I'd like to believe that she might be safer than she realizes.
You know now. You know I'm Jackie, don't you?
You are not Jackie.
Jackie.
You are not Jackie. Jackie is Jackie.
Ooh.
You are Sterling. Leave Jackie alone. Let Jackie out.
Every woman. It's all in me.
Now, wait. I hope Jackie knows we're not taking her thing lightly.
No.
She got some
She
good
got some
direction
good
here.
advice.
Yeah.
Now, I want to, before we move on to the IMO segment, the
Okay.
social segment.
Yes, sir.
You two met each other before today, but you didn't get a chance to. So tell me about that.
You've been rubbing it in.
For years.
It's been like 12, 13 years.
Until, yes, for years.
I did a show called Army Wives on Lifetime. And there was, I believe it was like a luncheon for military
moms.
spouses, et cetera. And you invited the cast of Army Wives because we were on the air at the time. And it was like an episode of Key and Peele, the receiving line. Everybody was in the receiving line, and all the ladies were coming through, and Madam First Lady was like, "Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your everything like that." And Brown got up there, and I was like, "Can I have a hug?" And she said, "Boy, please come." And we just, it was like, the arms were out. The guns were showing. I was like, "Bird, guess who hugged me today?"
A real hug.
Madam First Lady
hug.
held me in her arms. And I felt loved and seen and appreciated. And Ryan looked at me like, "Are you?" She was so mad. And the more I shared, the more angry she became. And then the more I shared, I was like, she hugged me close. And
Not
now
even
today,
right.
So did you commemorate that?
It was one of the great days of my life.
So I know my sister wanted to commemorate.
Oh, you have it! You have it!
Watch your Achilles.
Do not hurt yourself.
Oh my gosh, Brian wasn't lying!
Look at Ryan.
This is joy! You guys! This is like the greatest day of my life. And you don't get to take a picture after this and then you'll be fine. But this is...
We are going to get a copy of that so that Niche signs it for you. And then,
I
then you
remember
can
that
keep
moment
Do
too,
you
Sterling.
really?
I
Story.
do. I do. What
This
was one
is
of the
awesome.
things, one of our strategies with joining forces, our effort to support military families, was working with Hollywood runners and writers to really, reward and uplift shows that were shining a light on military families, and also get writers to put them into scripts in ways that were normal and natural, because most people don't understand that struggle.
Right.
Mhm.
So your show
Yeah.
was, one of the leading ones, and we thought a lot of the military wives and moms were watching it.
Yes.
So we were like, this would be a fun moment. So it was really special. I think my mom was probably there too.
I think she was.
At that luncheon, but
Oh,
it
my
was really, and the fact that
goodness.
the cast and crew took the time to come to the White House to help honor those women who
It
were
was a
sacrificing
joy.
and serving.
Look,
it was
Bridget,
really
Sally in
good.
the background there.
And I see the belt. I remember all your belts.
Yeah, those belts. You can't miss those belts. You cannot miss
Y'all,
them.
I don't know if you can come in on my camera, but this happened. Like, bro, you think I've just be making stuff up? Brown don't be making
Right,
stuff
that
up.
was the point.
Brown don't make
This happens. Thank you all very,
You
very
are
much.
so
This
silly.
is
Oh, you
the
are welcome.
sweetest thing.
Thank you for
ever.
being
Yeah.
Are you kidding
Oh,
me?
my
We
Well,
are
we
God.
can't
so
wait. Well,
thrilled.
before we go, because you guys will be working together again,
Yes, we will.
sort of a bit on the next season of Paradise. One of my favorite shows. I am there.
Thank you.
This
I'm
Johnny
late.
come
I'm late
lately.
to the
It's okay.
party. I'm late to the party. But
Johnny
I'm
come
still
lately.
There when you're ready.
You know, it's much better when I can just breeze through.
Well, sometimes I just let them pile up.
Oh, do you
I hear
do
you.
that?
I do.
Yeah.
I just,
I
it's a
can't do that with the ones
psychological.
I like.
No, it's a psychological discipline because
Oh.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I need to.
Psychological discipline.
It is.
Where is-
No, I agree.
Can I say this part, this last part to end? Because I was talking on That Was Us. I do a rewatch podcast for This Is Us. I was saying this about my wife, and I would put you, Madam First Lady, in the same category. And I'm sure if and when your husband gets a chance to hear this, he'll echo. There is one of the greatest gifts you can give to someone who has not fully realized their potential at that time is to say yes to them in their current set of circumstances and just believe that this is an individual that, regardless if they have all the trappings that come along with what I want success or what I think success or what society says success should look like, I still choose you. That is one of the most emboldening and wonderful feelings that you can ever have in life. So to both of you, I say thank you because it means a lot. It means a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's a mic drop there.
Really? Oh, aren't
Well
you
done.
cute? Aw.
And that's why we stay. They're just so cute.
I know. And they say things like that. It's like, aw. Well, this has been fun.
Yes, this has been great.
We had a great
too.
time.
Oh, you
Thank
too,
you.
man. This is
Thank you.
great.
Thank
We had
you.
a great time.
Appreciate
We
you.
really appreciate
Goes
y'all.
both
And-
ways.
Yeah.
Right.
They're trying to keep us apart.
No more. It's a pleasure.
Same,
You
same,
are
same, same.